to our future focused series today. My name is Megan Bayard Caraba, and I am the College Access Specialist here today with our Muskegon Area ISD. And today's future focus topic is college bound. There are a few more students that we are hoping will join us, so please bear with me as I look to welcome them into the room, but I greatly appreciate you being here today. We, have one simple mantra in mind when it comes to future focused, and that is that every student has a career in them. It is our job to find it with them. So we are pleased to offer you this series as the year goes on various different topics. Super excited about our college bound opportunity to have some great experts in the room. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen now so we can get started with our presentation. And first and foremost, I wanted to make sure those of you on the call today knew a little bit about what to expect and who we are speaking with. Today's expert in the field of college bound is Micah Muda. And Micah comes to us today from the Muskegon Area ISD. She is our Youth Impact Coordinator currently, but has a wealth of knowledge when it comes to college bound information. Micah spent 3 years of her time right here in the county working at Montague High School as a college advisor. And now she works with us here at the Intermediate School District with our local college access network and with our Muskegon Area Promise Zone. So super excited for you to hear from Micah and her expertise as it becomes available for college bound. She represents, of course, all career pathways, all pathways that we hope to talk about in our Future Focus series are represented, and many have a college or training piece that is going to be necessary. For our guests in the room today, we do want to make sure that everyone knows that they will be muted upon entry and that we will be using the chat feature to ask questions. If you could please use that feature for anything you'd like to do in raising your hand or raising a question. We'll be happy to make sure that those things get addressed. And of course, that this session will be recorded. We are looking to have all of our recordings for the Future Focus series on a YouTube channel. So excited to offer that. As we begin to think about those who are helping us today, actually, I want to make sure we know we have a co-host with Michelle Cook as one of our career specialists and helping to moderate some of our chat as well. I want to make sure I set the stage a little bit with college bound and what is college before we give the stage and the microphone back, if you will, to Micah Muda. And the first thing I want to discuss today is what college is, right? When we talk about being college bound, what do we mean by that? And college, by pure definition, if we were to Google this or if we were to bust open a dictionary and look in the letter C, we would find this particular statement about college. It is a noun, of course, and it's an institution or an establishment, right? It's got two different variety of definitions that it encompasses. And one is that it provides a higher education in a professional or vocational training. And two, it's a school that we go to in the US after high school. So we could be finding that college are courses that lead to a degree, right? And that degree might be what we typically think of college, university experience with a bachelor's degree, i.e. example, Michigan State, right? But it could also be a degree or courses from an associate's degree. Perhaps that's at our local community college, or Ferris State University that offers 2-year programs and associate's degree, or Baker College that offers 2-year associate's degree. So when we think of college, I would love to make sure that we try to keep that ambiguous, if you will, and that we think of all of the facets of having a high quality credential in something after high school. Okay, so setting the stage really important for that as we look to some of our questions with Micah. So the skinny, right? I want to be able, I can share with you some of the expert advice from someone fresh out of college with her bachelor's degree and actually still in college for her master's degree in Micah Muda. Micah, are you ready for us to start asking questions of you so we can learn a little bit more about how students in high school can prepare for their adventure in life after high school, or who they might rely on for help? So Micah, you're coming to us remotely, right? In this day and age, COVID style, we are working remote. And thank you so much for joining us today as our expert in College Bound, in College Access, in College World. I'm so excited to have you here. I'm going to spend, like I said, the next 20 minutes or so asking some questions of you, and we would love to hear some of your responses. So first and foremost, think back to when you were 15, 16, or 17 in high school, right? It wasn't too long ago. What types of things, or did you think, actually, let's start with this. Did you think you would be where you are today as a youth impact coordinator when you were 15 years old back in high school?
No, I think I thought people my age were really, really old, and it was hard to think that far ahead. But I know, like many students, when I was looking at different careers, I didn't do a lot of career exploration. It was looking at the adults around me and kind of what they did for work. So I knew my cousin was a nurse and I thought that sounded cool. So that's what was in my head at that time.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. So a little bit of history. Some of our students on the Zoom today, I didn't give them your history on your college experience. You had an undergrad from Calvin College, a private college here in West Michigan, and you're currently pursuing your master's degree from Grand Valley, right? Mm-hmm. Can you talk to us a little bit about what influenced your decisions on those choices, on where you wanted to go to school?
Yeah, so I definitely came into college not understanding the field of social work, but different questions around how to serve my community, how to help other people, really wanting to make a difference in different ways. I found students and professors who I just clicked with, and that was the social work department. And so that's what originally brought me there. And then as I worked at Montague High School, I realized I just loved supporting students and that my love for social work and for higher education could combine, and I'd love to support students in the college setting.
Awesome. Well, I know that you had a really good run at Montague High School as a college advisor. And we are super excited to get and glean some of that expertise today. So when you think about the choice, you mentioned that you had wanted to be a nurse for a while, and the fact that you liked to serve your community. You know, oftentimes when students think about college, they think about having to choose a major and oh my goodness, what am I going to do with my life? Was it difficult for you to choose your path, and maybe what might could you give us for advice on how to investigate some of that?
Sure. So I and partly from my work with students at Montague too, what's been really helpful for me is not always thinking I need to find the exact perfect job, because there are so many jobs out there, and just looking at all the future focused topics, you can see just the plethora of opportunities. But what's really helpful is to know who you are, what you enjoy, and what some of your innate skill sets are. And that will really help you influence volunteer opportunities you want to take part in, jobs you might, and internships you might want in college. And I found for myself, if I enjoy what I'm doing, I'm going to be successful. And so that's been a helpful guide. And for me, it's contributing and helping others.
Awesome. Awesome. So, much of the viewers that we have on our Future Focus series will be high school students, okay, obviously. But they could be in a variety of grades, Micah, grades 9 through 12. And while we may have seniors really interested in College Bound, we also have underclassmen who are interested in life after high school opportunity. What does that look like for them? Can you talk to us a little bit about what freshmen and sophomores can do to prepare for that next step, to prepare for that college or that training opportunity?
Yeah, the first thing I want to say is get good grades, but that's a really unhelpful comment because it's sort of like out there, like how does one do that? And so instead I would say organizing yourself so that you're getting homework assignments in on time. If you're turning things in, you're probably going to get it. If you're turning things in and on time, you're probably going to get an okay grade. And if you're studying for tests, and so really honing in on your study skills. And if you feel like I don't quite know how to study for a test or take notes in class, or I'm having trouble carving out time to get my homework done, talk to your teachers. They really are there for you. So starting to build some of those skills so that you do get good grades. There's things that contribute to the good grades. And then some students think, okay, I want to go to college. I have to get involved in everything at school. I have to be on student council and in a sport and in the play. And I really advise students that when it comes to extracurriculars, quality is oftentimes superior than quantity. So even if you get involved in one thing and you really enjoy it and you do it for 4 years, and that's the only thing, maybe it's the newspaper or band, that shows a lot. So if you're a freshman or sophomore, study the skills and study skills that you need to be successful. And if you feel like you're short, talk to your teachers and get involved, at least one thing.
Awesome. Such great advice, Micah. One of the things that we try to incorporate countywide here in Muskegon as well is exposure to pre-college and career experiences too. So our underclassmen are really encouraged and invited to kind of get the flavor of college early, right? Maybe it's a tech center class, maybe it's a work-based learning opportunity with our career specialist, maybe it's early college for Muskegon County or dual enrollment. And so we really try hard to kind of get that flavor rolling. But that certainly complements what you had to say as well. Thank you. So we talked about freshmen and sophomores, but what about juniors and seniors? The clock is ticking a little bit more for our juniors and seniors. What can they do to make sure that they're applying correctly, that they're collecting the documents that they might need? What's your best advice for the upperclassmen when it comes to that college adventure?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so students will really want to keep in mind the Common App or the Coalition app. Those are websites that are platforms where you can apply to multiple colleges at once, and it really helps you stay on track and organized in a seamless process. And I like to remind students that college apps range in the amount of time. So some are really easy, as simple as a short form and sending a transcript from your high school counseling office to the college. And then some, they require much more information, essays, some short answer questions, letters of recommendation from teachers, perhaps a fee. So it's something that you want to make sure you're planning out and make sure you have enough time for all those steps in the process. And then I mentioned Common App and Coalition app. If you are wondering if a college you're interested in is not on those platforms, I typically just Google college name application, and you'll find there should be a web page with their specific requirements of what you need to do, sometimes a separate application.
Awesome. Awesome. Yeah, that's important to know about our college apps and using that Common App platform. We do see more and more colleges and universities picking that up as their vehicle to drive. And it's actually kind of nice. I mean, when you think of that one-stop shop for making sure that we're streamlining all of our applications, because as many of our students might know, the October has been Michigan College Month, right? And so their high schools, many of them are really rallying the troops right now. Application, application, application. And if they're seniors and if they're juniors, they're talking about leading us into our next question, financing college, right? And scholarships and searching. So a lot to consider as juniors and seniors. It does seem a little anxiety like. It does seem a little like there's a lot to handle, a lot to swallow. But also what we're going to talk about today is who's in your corner to help you stay organized. So leading into my next question, Micah, is, we have all of the college options. We know we're applying. We know that we want to go. How can we afford it, right? What is our way to finance education after high school?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I sometimes explain it like this to students. So you apply to college to see if you'll be admitted, right? The at college admissions. And once you find out, Grand Valley, yes, no, no, did I get in? Then you've got a second question, and it's, can I afford this college? And there is actually a separate application to answer that question. And it is called the FAFSA, or Free Application for Federal Student Aid. And this is a federal form, again, free. It gets easier every year. And you want to complete it your senior year as early as possible. So it opened October 1st. And that really starts the process of financial aid and opening up these different pockets of money for you to afford college. So that's where you want to start. And if you're a senior, especially, but if you're a junior, senior, and you've talked to your school counselors, teachers, or college advisor, you've heard the word FAFSA. And then, so that helps open up these pockets, and scholarships, of course, we know help pay for college. I have to talk about the Muskegon Promise Scholarship. So if you have a 3.5 or above and live within the bounds of the Muskegon Intermediate School District, then you can go for free to Muskegon Community College or Baker College. So of course we have to talk about that because it's an enormous resource on how to pay for school. And then there are, if through the FAFSA, what you get from the state and federal government and scholarships, if you still have a gap in paying, there are loans, and you always want to start with federal loans. And if you need them, there are private loans available. And again, talk to your school counselor and college advisor about all that good stuff.
So many great stuff for affording the college adventure, right? Myself, I fondly call myself the mother of the promise. And I work really hard to make sure that our community, that our students and our families know about that resource and gift. So thank you for bringing that up. That is a huge piece to affording the college adventure. And I love that you brought up the FAFSA, of course, and the fact that, yep, we might have a school loan now and again, right? And it's really important to know upfront what to expect with that. So thank you very much. I'm just going to take a minute now and take a pause just to check our chat to make sure that we don't have anything missing that came in questions. I don't see anything on my end. My beautiful co-host, do you see any chat messages that may have come in that I missed?
I do not at this time. I do wonder though if any of our students that are watching have any burning questions that they're thinking about, some of the things that they've heard, or some of the things they may not have heard yet and want to ask. Um, and if you do, please pass them along.
Yeah,
I do have one question that just came in. So as I was saying that, somebody was typing. Who can
perfect.
help me with my essay for college?
Ooh, Micah, what you got for them?
Yeah, it's a great question. I know when I was a college advisor, I loved helping students with essays. Now, um, each college advisor, this is a busy time. And so, depending on their skill set, it may or may not be something they feel like, yes, I'm a go-to person for that. So, but I would check in if you have a college advisor. And then English teachers can be fantastic. That's really probably where I would say first to go, is English teachers. They've got the beat on this and love to help students. And you can talk to um, your school counselor, and then um, I'm I would also do some internet research. There's some good articles out there. I'm tempted to I have a few kind of in mind that if I got your email, I could send you a few after this. Um, so internet research, there's some good stuff out there, even just with a Google search.
All great advice. One of the things that I would add on to that is just peer editing, right? And asking your friends, right? And helping you think through this. And if you were given a topic or, what types of things did you share? Does that sound good? Oftentimes we forget that our friends, our closest friends even, are just as knowing about you as a person and what should be in that um, student essay as well. So don't feel bad about asking them for help. But the ELA teacher, the English language arts teacher, that would have been my first blush answer as well. Thank you so much. We'll get back to chat questions here in just a moment, but I want to give Micah appropriate time to answer our questions and to stay on task for our Future Focus series here. Micah, I'm going to go a little bit quicker with some of our questions just so we can maintain time. But the next one comes to the challenges with college, okay? I want you to think about maybe sharing some advice for our students on the Zoom today about what should they know about that could be challenging on where they might be headed.
Yeah, so college brings about a lot more responsibility. You have more control over your schedule. You're the one getting yourself to class, to work. So you'll need perhaps to tune up skills in organizing your time, self-initiative, kind of taking control of responsibility.
Yeah. Good thought. In high school, we have a lot of people on our team and a lot of people keeping the balls in the air and helping us to stay organized. So being our own kind of manager of that is a big skill that we have to learn. And speaking of skills, let's think of employability skills or soft skills or however you want to term it. Is there something important that our students in high school need to master now before they go off into a post-secondary world?
Yeah, the first thing that comes to my head is to ask really good questions, and don't be afraid to ask for help. Just because you have now a lot of responsibilities and maybe more things to do than you did before doesn't mean that you're alone, but it does take your, again, your self-initiative and your effort. So building relationships with adults who can help you with finding a job on campus or writing a paper. It is not just okay to ask for help, it's a really wise success strategy.
Awesome. Yes. that is probably a really important thing to think about when wherever our plans take us, right? Whether we are planning to attend a community college or a university or another training program, many of those programs all have support. And we need to be our own self advocates to do that. So, thinking a little bit about, again, what to expect once we take that leap into the next adventure. Do you think, or can you recommend that college might have any tools or technologies that we need to be aware of that students need to, again, master or use or be privy to?
Yes, I know, thinking back to my experience, I really needed to learn how email worked, and I see that still. With students, we have it, or you have it, but maybe don't check it very often. And so I really learned how to use email well very quickly when I started college, because I knew I was getting important college mail during the college application process, things like from the Promise Scholarship, you get mail. So check email regularly, respond to emails. Any email that's not like an email from Target does require a response. And yeah, so that would be my main thought.
Awesome. You know, I just giggle because I think of my world in the Promise. And one of the things I tell our seniors is once you are in college and no longer in high school, everything is electronic. And so we have to get used to emails. We have to get used to checking it and writing them and responding to them. And this coming from the mother of the Promise who serves 564 students, it's also helpful to have an email that's crafted with, this is who I am, this is where I'm coming from, this is my question, right? So a lot of times we forget, and sometimes it gets a little vague, and we need to provide that detail. So email, wow, spot on for that one. I would wholeheartedly agree. So, two more questions, Micah, as I think about our time and being respectful of those on our Zoom today. First of all, it kind of goes along to our student question about who can help with an essay, but who might be the best people that our students can lean on, that our students can call on, and that our students can use to support some of their decisions?
Mm-hmm. Teachers, your school counselor, and then if you have one, a college advisor as well. Those are all great people who really want to help you with these questions. So don't be afraid.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. And we do have a ton of college advisors in the community, in our high schools, and all of our college counselors as well, high school counselors rather, are certainly in the mode of college, college, college right now, or next step, next step, next step, right? A student may not be heading off to a 2-year associate's degree program or a 4-year university program. They might be headed right into the world of work, or they might be headed into the military, right? But all of our staff are in place to help with those conversations of what is the next step and how can we make those goals. So, I started out our Future Focus series today with the introduction of our mantra that every student has a career in them. It's our job to find it with them. And Micah, my last question for you is, what is your best advice or words of wisdom to help students search for that career in them? How do they find that?
Yeah, it's funny because this is called College Bound, and my advice is something to pair with your high school or college education, and that is to start stepping into getting experience, either internship, a job, even while you're in high school, or a volunteer position. Colleges love to see that you've been successful in an environment beyond high school. And so if you find something that you really enjoy and you can fit it in, getting some of that, I don't want to call it real world experience because high school is the real world too, but you know what I mean, can be really huge.
Great. Thank you so much for that, Micah. I greatly appreciate it. Michelle Cook, my wonderful co-host, are there any other questions that may have come in from any of our viewers today that we need to make sure we address?
Just one question. Once I've decided what I'm interested in, what are the most important things I should look for in a college?
That's a fantastic question. So a variety of things. So if you know your interest area, making sure that they have majors within that, college majors and programs within that interest area is going to be the first step. And then beyond that, you're looking at things that differentiate colleges. So things like, do I want to be at a smaller school? Or do I want to be at a big school like U of M? What about the cost? Do I want to start by using the Promise or going to community college and then build on that and transfer? So size, cost, location. So do I want to be in a big city? Do I want to be in a smaller town? And then you can also, when you know your interest area and you've been directed towards a certain major, this is getting a little specific, but actually looking at the graduation rates for that program can be really helpful to see how successfully that school is training people in your area of interest. And you can find that data. Again, I would probably reach out to your school counselor to help you navigate that data, but that's kind of an extra credit thing. If a student's looking at that, you're headed in a good direction.
Such great advice, Micah. I was thinking very similarly with that return on investment piece, right? Now that we've chosen and we know what our path is and we know where we want to go, what's the degree completion like at that institution? What's the career connection? Are students actually getting work and employment as a result of it, right? I loved how you framed it as it's an extra credit digging, right? Because that, I mean, not many people think of that. But that information is out there and we can certainly seek that out. My only other ad would be, and it's so hard right now, COVID considering and everything virtual, but find on campus, right? Get yourself there, get yourself to the institution, and find out if it feels like home. You know, that's one of the things that we really stress to our students is find an institution or a place of training that feels like home, right? You want to be there. Do you belong? Do they have the clubs there that you want to be involved in? Do they have the sports there that you want to see and be involved in? So there's a lot to think about, but think about it, you know, this is your next adventure in adult life, right? It's a really big decision. And let's think about happiness and think about where we want to be and what's great about it as well. So I can see you shaking your head a little bit, Micah. Thank you so much. Well, I truly appreciate it. We are 4 minutes over our time here. And I just want to point out a couple of things with our Future Focused series. I greatly appreciate you all hanging in there and listening to Micah and I's conversation about College Bound. Please make sure you're reaching out to that high school counselor or college advisor for additional support. Our email is on the screen today. If you'd like to reach out to either of us at the ISD, you are more than welcome to do that. And then simply a reminder that we will have our YouTube channel up and running very soon with many of our Future Focus series being featured there. We do offer these series week after week, so hopefully you come back and you hear various different topics about some of the careers and the exposures we have right here locally, and a vested interest in hopefully something for all of our students. Thank you so very much. And unless there's any other questions, Michelle, I am going to go ahead and end our call today. And I wish you all a great rest of the Wednesday.